When my uncle dropped me off at the airport, all I could see was white snow from last night, carpeting the toll pike, white crystals playing on the gate doors. The flight crew was bustling with white protective clothing, white bottles of alcohol sanitizers, white masks covering people's expressions. What did I see in their eyes? Weariness? Woe? Wonder? Worry? Stepping onto the plane, I saw canned soup and snacks in plastic bags, sitting on my seat, silently, peacefully, like an apology. At the front, white banners with red block letters spelling out, "Welcome home." Soon, the cabin radio uttered inaudible words. Like normal, it felt. I fell back, listened, and I dreamed.
Difficulty breathing, sore throat, nausea, blocked appetite, a runny or congested nose, engagement of the feet, feeling unwell for any unknown reason, physical contact with sick, close, contact, sick. Unusual level of fatigue, difficulty breathing,
Every morning I wake to screens instead of sun, to the whir of a computer waking instead of the stir of sleepy roommates. Long gone are the good old days where the biggest concern was being comfortable with yourself, roughly shaved away by as if it was sandpaper smoothing over issues long gone unnoticed.
It escalated quickly from something small as I quietly played crescendos at the piano. Began attacks, livelihood shut down, but only spoke in those stalks and cuts.
Everything became a blur from then on. We stopped eating at the restaurant, my brother and I, confined to the walls of our home in fear of what was waiting for us outside. But it followed us, no matter where we were. Screens are something powerful. They connect, pieces upon pieces, but they can also break up into 1,000 little shards if you hit them hard enough.
They want that connection. I love being connected, not caring enough to keep that relation.
Ease in getting trapped, infectious, this disease, wherever you scroll, the Chinese virus. Friend, through the screen, infected by the trend between us.
The news spits, it hates.
It discriminates and never appreciates.
Negativity spreads like wildfire, through the screen, I mean. As I sit alone, collecting my thoughts of families like mine, torn apart, luxury sold, empty chairs at the dinner table.
Screens break easy. They're just glass after all. They can take a hit, maybe 2, maybe 3.
But at a certain point, salvation is futile, and so it's given up, thrown away, forgotten. But not really. After all, the fragments still remain. I long to escape, away from the screen, somewhere negativity cannot penetrate, somewhere my heart stops aching for the alarming rates of tradition's disappearance anywhere, to see the sun shine again.
pandemic is sweeping the nation. This disease outbreak has been a long time coming, but recent events have sparked an explosive emergence.
We are all going through something that has been predicted for years. This disease has not received as much attention or traction until now, as it has been notorious for being swept under the rug. But now that it's under the limelight, we all need to face the ugly truths of the silent but deadly element, the hate virus.
According to a multitude of surveys and reports, nearly 1/3 of Asian Americans have been subjected to slurs or jokes since the outbreak began, and about 1 in 4 said they fear physical harm or threats. It's no secret that anti-Asian harassment has backed amid the current circumstances of the global health crisis. Some have decided that it's okay to tear an entire race down just because of something completely outside of their control. However, this shouldn't come as a surprise to the Asian American community. The hate virus has been around much longer than just a few months. However, all of this was happening at a very particular moment in time, the civil rights movement.
Prior to the 1950s and 60s, Asian Americans were vilified as a yellow peril, an undesirable alien menace.
But immigration reform in 1965 allowed an influx of highly skilled, educated Asian professionals to settle in the United States. Soon, politicians, social scientists, and journalists extolled Asian Americans as model minorities, hardworking, law-abiding citizens, capable of assimilating into white society.
All of this was happening at a very particular moment in time. With the recent rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, many Asian Americans have been taking a step back and identifying the anti-blackness within their own communities, while some excuse their silence because of the no one ever helped us when we were being discriminated against.
To deny the existence of the entrenching institutional racism that Black Americans were protesting. Despite being used as an argument in an untrumpable debate, Asian Americans are still invisible until deployed as a convenient cudgel against other racial and ethnic groups, which is then used to point to their supposed success as an indicator of American fairness. While Asian Americans tend to be more progressive on issues of racial equality, there are some contradictions.
Tensions between blacks and Asian Americans famously exploded during the Los Angeles riots of 1992. A year earlier, a Korean liquor store owner shot and killed Natasha Hardens, a 15-year-old black girl who she believed had stolen a bottle of orange juice. When riots broke out following the acquittal of the LA police officers whose savage deeds were aching, thousands of Korean-owned businesses were damaged or destroyed.
As part of the national reckoning on racial injustice, many Asian Americans are grappling with their own communities' fraught histories of anti-blackness at a time when anti-Asian sentiment fueled by the coronavirus pandemic has surged. Perhaps it's no coincidence that Asian Americans are increasingly confronting anti-Black racism.
What is whiteness?
Well, to me, whiteness is division. It's being grouped by race for communication purposes. It's only being welcomed by those who look like you, then getting made fun of for being too Asian. Whiteness is unfairness. It's not being spoken to and avoided because you're too hard to relate to. It's being left out from everything because you're different. Whiteness is the teacher not knowing your name after months of teaching you because it's confusing. You all look the same. It's being able to get away with anything. Whiteness is ideal.
I was just thinking, like, it would feel backwards for me to try and, like, have this whole speech about me being white when white people in the past were the ones that started all this. And I don't want any of my ideas to take away from anyone else's in any way, because that wouldn't be right. Whiteness is privilege. White privilege. The kind of privilege that was built in the system that I've benefited from before I was even born. A system that's been rooted in separation, in division, in exclusion. A system that's hurt so many people for so many years, and it needs to stop. I'm going to use my whiteness my privilege to make change, necessary change, because we need to be better.
Well, whiteness is, it's a really weird emotion. It's like, I want to have empathy. I want to have this conversation, but like, I just don't know what to say. It's like trying to give a presentation and not having any vocabulary. I don't know what to say, what to talk about. I want to make things better, but I don't know how, and yet I know I can't repair it.
To me, whiteness is never seeing yourself represented on TV. It's when your own family can't properly pronounce your name after 17 years. It's when people who you thought were your friends like to tell you what they think you are. It's when they say, oh, I think you're more white than Asian. But when you get good grades, it's only because I'm half Asian. It's when it feels like your friends like to focus on what you are and not who you are. It's when it feels like you just don't fit.
My full name is Ifeoluwa Shioluwatamilore, and Microsoft assumes it's a spelling error. I've been called Keshi, Keisha, Keshi, everything. And I used to accept it. At Starbucks, I pick a random English name. And it just proves how our society has forced me to dampen aspects of my personality. I've developed insecurities because the beauty and fashion industry have made it clear to me that my natural features are only acceptable in certain contexts in small doses. Like, I can have curly hair, but it can't be too messy. I can have thick thighs, but they can't be too jiggly, and my name is apparently too stressy. I mean, y'all can say Sammy, Charlie, Ari, Tammy, Saskatchewan, but not Kishi. And I'm sick of it.
Whiteness is when people ask you, why don't you act like your own race? Or why do you want to act white so bad? But in reality, I was literally speaking English like they were. And when I do speak in Mandarin, they say, oh, speak English, no one can understand you. You're not in China. It's when people pick on you for something I can't physically change. They say, open your eyes as big as you can, or why does it look like you're squinting all the time?
Ifeoluwa Kishi means God's love never fails. And it's a reminder that no matter what, the love of God will prevail.
My name is Catherine, named after the first thing my parents saw in North America to make sure others could pronounce it and understand it, to ensure normalcy.
My parents' name is Saka, cherry blossom, because I was born at the end of March, and that's sakura season in Japan. They wanted a name that would represent my Japanese culture.
My parents named me Quinn because, well, I guess they just really liked the name.
My parents named me Hannah because it goes back in our ancestry and it means grace for the child. They must have felt like they're lucky to have me.
Well, my English name actually has no meaning, but my Chinese name, Wang Zhaoyang, means sunshine.
I love that.
Thank you.
2020 has opened our eyes to the amount of hate in our world. For generations, we've discriminated against different races, religions, and sexual orientations. For generations, we've hated ourselves, our occupations, our own reflections.
COVID-19 is invisible and powerful.
COVID-19 shut down institutions, organizations.
It refuses to dim its light.
It refuses to sit on the sidelines.
I refuse.
Physical distancing disrupts our normal social routines. During times of uncertainty and change, it is normal for people to worry.
Physical distancing means keeping our distance from one another and limiting activities outside the home.
When outside the home, it means keeping at least 2 meters away from other people whenever possible.
We must act now to reduce the spread.
Avoid crowded spaces.
Avoid non-essential travel and stay home whenever possible.
Stay connected with neighbors, friends, and family members in new ways.
Take the online self-assessment tool.
Please ensure you wear a mask. to prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus.
Please make sure your mask covers your mouth and nose.
Avoid touching your mask with your hands.
Please wash your hands for 20 seconds before and after touching your mask.
If you are unable to wash your hands, please use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Do your part and stay home.
If you suspect you may have been exposed to COVID-19, please take the online self-assessment tool.
If you begin to notice signs of depression
or hopelessness in yourself or a loved one, please seek help.
Seriously, another celebrity baby name quiz?
Hello? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to me!
This is weird. I think I'm you, but like now?
But I'm you, but like now?
Why aren't you wearing one of these?
What's that? Why do you wear one of those? I'm lost.
I think we are all lost.
Whew. Looks like we're going into quarantine after the midterm break.
Looks like. We already did, and we already came out of it.
We did? How was it?
Long. Trust me. Well, never mind. Don't take advantage of getting to be around people. Hug your friends, hug your family. You don't know when you'll be able to again. Just interact with real people. You'll get plenty of screen time soon enough.
That's good advice, me from the future. I guess I'm gonna go outside, and I'm certainly not going to worry about how we're able to talk to each other through our phones through time.
This is the present. There is no past or future. There is only now. Now. It is a sliding continuous always and forever now. We are always us in this now, and will always be, even later when we change. Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. These words were once said by a poet from the past. Now they're being said by me, and now I have said them, and they are over. But I still am. We still are. This is us right now. And now. And now. And now. And now. And now I am done speaking. But I still am I.
Oh my god, just die from the Rona already. Like, I can't go to the beach. I'm so depressed, guys. Like, if I can't see my friends, I'm going to start licking doorknobs. My DMs are giving me serious anxiety right now. Kaka! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
I couldn't sleep last night. Newsflash, we're all going to die, and all we can do is laugh about it.
React. Why aren't you laughing?
I just...
Isn't it funny?
No,
Why isn't it funny anymore? Do I terrify? The nose, the eye pits, the full set of teeth, the sour breath, because all I see is you. Me, you, and I. We are the same.
I know. I can't think. I can't. I don't know why I act like this, okay? I shouldn't. It isn't funny. Not when I'm alone. Not when I'm consumed by the merciless confrontations of my thoughts. Not when the peanut crunching crowd shoves in to see, well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The big striptease. Unwrap me, hands and foot. These are my hands, my knees, skin and bones. This is us. Consumed by the same empty jokes, the same destructive laughter, slowly withering our sorry hearts away. We're the same, dying. Come back in broad day to the same place, the same face, the same words. Repeat, 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 repeat. It has to stop. If I don't do something about it, it'll kill me.
So maybe it should.
Maybe it should.
Dying, you see, is enough art, like everything else. Do it exceptionally well.
Do it so it feels like hell.
Do it so it feels real.
Like the cat, I have many more times to die. This is number one. I can't laugh anymore. The well has run dry, so dry that it burns. I burn and yearn until ash, you poke and stir. Flesh and bone, there's nothing here. Beware. Beware. Out of the ash I rise. A sort of walking miracle, my skin, my soul, my face, new. No more laughter. Not anymore. It isn't funny anymore. Is this what you are? I couldn't sleep last night. It's okay though. I'm reborn.
This is a warning. I've been treating myself so badly that I'm struggling to connect with myself. My mind keeps racing like I don't know it, so I'm scratching my skull like it's breaking from the inside. My thoughts keep bouncing around, back and forth, like lights in rapid motion, reminding me of the troubles within my own home. I was only a child. I still had my messy handwritings and little doodles to distract myself with. I used to watch as the rain fell against the window because that was all I had to live my life in this endless and continual spiral. I was only 5 years old, but I'd cried enough tears to last an entire lifetime. I used to think that we were all the same, that we were connected by blood, not biological blood, but the blood of my mother's. I could never understand it. I could never understand why people would believe in love. What is love? Is love real? Is this real? I could never understand why he would punch us so ferociously until my mother looked like the pulps of the grapes we both loved. The next morning, she would wake up and clean it all away with makeup. But just because she used makeup didn't mean they would actually make up. Yes, she was a woman, but first and foremost, she was human. She had the same skin, but then it was always bruised. The same nose, but then it was always bleeding. The same hair, the same eyes. Everything was the exact same. Except their only purpose were to distract from the bruises of her beatings. I wish I could wake up tomorrow and tell you this was all just a dream.
This is all a dream.
The American dream.
A big modern house with a big modern family. One dad, one mom, 2 kids, maybe 3?
Well, not 4, because 4 are just pushing it.
I've lived the American dream, and I hated it.
The dream is a virus. Infectious yet unseen, painful yet unfelt.
Everywhere and yet nowhere, all at the same time.
It leaves a prick in my mind. I fear what my eyes shall never meet. How do you expect me to stay comfortable?
It is everywhere.
On the cable, in the net.
It's riddled in my mind. It could be right here.
Or right there, sleeping in the bed?
It could be right next to me.
It is the pricking needle.
But it's not the vaccine I've been waiting for. Not the routine I thought was sure. Not the cure. My sleep is meant to be rest, but now I wait for my thoughts to drift away so my fearful mind can do the same.
The same.
Maybe we're all the same, going through this together without even knowing it. Maybe we can all call them what they actually are, nightmares.
It is together that our fears become dares.
It is together we slap a brand of equity and righteousness for the whole world to see.
Blow the fanfare!
This is what we truly believe.
It is ridicule. It is contest.
It's unfair to those who need the justice.
I don't care about them anymore. Can't wait much longer.
My cure will not be delayed.
My vaccine is here.
I've realized that the dream is full of blessings. I'm an adult now, and all I see are the blessings.
Yes, there's trauma.
But too, there's blessings.
The time my mother and I sat on the bathroom floor and cried together, a blessing. I've learned that we must take our blessings and count them while we walk. That's how I stay comfortable. Count your steps like you count your blessings, because traumas number 1 through 5 are just as important as blessing number 6. I had the infection while I slept, but when I awoke, I was healed.
Love. Do you miss me?
Yes, 1,000 times yes. Am I enough?
Are you? Why would you ever question your worth?
Because I'm nothing without you. Because when you can't touch something, emotion fades away.
I can't believe you still think like that. Long distance relationships, online relationships.
There's something about that physical connections, though. It strengthens relationships. It's addicting, intimate, necessary.
People fall in love with or without physical connection. We're surrounded by it. You know that.
I'm nothing without you. Nothing. I fade away.
You're the reason I'm here. You come first.
I may come first, but you are part of me. Love is nothing without touch.
So they survived through all of this? Will relationships survive this time?
They'll just have to love without you. Where will you go?
I'll wait in the memories of embraces, handshakes, hugs, shoulders that brush, and I'll be there until they're ready.
And what would happen to me?
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. You'll only become stronger as they wait for me.
This has to end eventually.
Eventually.
You'll wait for me?
Always.
You know, what's interesting about quarantine at home is that it brings opposite things together, and yet I never feel awkward. I sense freedom and restraint. I perceive boredom and delight. I discover panic and calm.
It is bizarre that I'm having a relatively normal daily routine when the outside world is upside down.
When I drift off, I find myself recalling the feeling of the breeze kissing my lips. I find myself remembering the aftertaste of a hug, a real one. I find myself missing the electricity of people being close together.
Every time I go outside, I feel I'm preparing for an unseen war. I put on my mask and I spray disinfectant on my hands constantly.
The clock downstairs is ticking. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The first day passes, 230 people infected with the virus. The second day passes, 450 people infected with the virus. The third day passes, 1,079 people infected with the virus.
My hands shake when I open the Johns Hopkins website. Many weeks pass with no medical breakthroughs, only more and more people suffering.
I truly feel sorrow. What is the life of a patient before he is infected? I wonder, is he a happy father? Is he watching TV with his family before he feels his symptoms? Is he just like me and other people before the virus strikes him down? Death has never been this close to me before.
The pandemic is a coin. On one side, it brings death and misery. On the other side, all of us start to slow down and reflect on everything.
I hope that the future generations learn something from us. Something we paid a tremendous price for.
I cherish fragile things.
Once I thought the meaning of life was to achieve tremendous success and to make everyone proud of me. Now, I only want to give a big hug to those that I love and haven't seen in a long, long time.
Slowly, we are starting to feel the solitude seep into our bones, pulsating in our hearts and coursing through our veins, being enshrouded by a foreboding darkness that fills our minds with despair and sorrow, and then impassivity.
The vivid colors of our lives dimmed low until we're left in utter darkness, like faded photographs, blotting out the pores on our face, the glimmer in our eyes. Everything that makes us human is withering away.
We are starting to see people in their own right, stripped of skin, receiving the words of sheer misery and thinly veiled contempt. Because in seclusion, the silence is deafening, and we ought to share our hardships with others rather than harboring them. But for now, they just suffuse our mind. And when we look in the mirror, sometimes we don't recognize the face staring back.
Routines lose their purpose. Dusk and dawn are just meaningless hues, but we see the world through a different lens because some motives of life before were just a mirage. The blur of preconceptions dispelled, we realize that affluence and fame are inconsequential. Because what are celebrities doing now? Lounging in opulence?
We know that even the loners are desperate for the caress of a loved one, or the sight of walkways teeming with milling crowds. It is the familiarity that is being deprived. It is the loss of that which cuts like a blade.
And we finally understand the fragility of it all. Our lives brimming with happiness, how if you weren't careful enough, you could shatter it without even realizing. Pieces scattered across memories until it's too late to put them back together again. And then it starts to taint others. That is a virus in its purest form. But perhaps this is just another hurdle in the sinuous journey of our lives. Another boggy trail to trudge through. No matter how much the gleaming sunlight seems to dwindle or the remnants of hope start to dissipate, or how the mud clings to your feet, threatening to pull you down under, there is a parting somewhere. You just have to open your eyes and see.
People always find a way, and when they do, they return steeled, resilient, and changed.
Because fortitude isn't about ignoring the pain or fear, it's about acknowledging it and carrying on despite the pressure.
This is how we endure. We mend our wounds all we can and embrace them, so that one day we will become indistinguishable from ourselves and who we aspire to be.
And we beseech leaders to make it right and to resolve everything. But maybe if we muster up enough courage
and join our wills in solidarity, then maybe some of the lost colors will start to appear again. In this canvas of life in which we are the true artists, it's just
our responsibility to prevent the world from painting it for us.